Good morning, team. It is Tuesday, September 14th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amy Kaur, and I'm joined by Kevin Van Eck, and we are live out of the Goose Island office. Well, I don't know about you, but with school getting back into session and summer winding down, I feel already like I'm getting back into a routine. In fact, my Peloton was a little lonely in August, but this week I'm getting myself back on my health kick. So let's get into this episode as we talk about Q4 and getting into the rest of this year. Let's talk about all that we can still accomplish. So grab your drink of choice and let's jump into Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
That's right, Amy. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And good morning, Amy. I've got my coffee. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about. Oftentimes this time of year, we take our foot off the gas. We feel like the year is over and we're just going to coast into the holidays and begin 2022 when 2022 starts. But here's the thing. What are you doing right now that puts your focus on business so that not only over the next 60 to 90 days, but into 2022, you have control over what happens in your business. You can continue to grow. Instead of coasting, you are going to take a proactive look at what you can do to impact your business. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Instead of letting the energy pendulum swing from earlier this year when we were in high throttle down to just coasting, we're going to bring that pendulum back. We're going to bring the energy back. And the two things we're going to do that with, the first is we're going to think about where the opportunity is for us to gain business right now. What are the actions we can specifically do in the next 60 to 90 days to close out this year strong? And the second thing we're going to talk about is how can we plan to plan? That's right. We have to plan to plan. If we walk into a business planning session without the right thought process, without the right information or data, or look back on our year in 2021, we're not going to be able to business plan effectively or efficiently for 2022. Those are the two things we're going to talk about today. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
That's right, Kevin. So let's talk about opportunity right now. I know that when we hit this time of year and we're looking at business, we oftentimes think that it's a wrap. The year is just about over, and now I should be focusing all of my energies into what I will be doing next year. And I know that the majority of the year, yes, we're almost into Q4. So 3/4 of the year is about over. But I want us to think a little bit about what does remain in October, November, and December, because I feel like there is still so much opportunity for you. As we talked about, what you're doing right now, you are going to see the results of it in 60 to 90 days. So if you think about it, if you're doing open houses right now, 60 to 90 days means you might be closing on a house with a buyer or getting ready to close on a seller's house in November or December. So let's remember that there is still plenty of time to create some great energy for 2021. And so I want you to think about 3 things that you can be doing to get to the end of the year. And the first thing that I want you to think about is, we always come into the new year with this amazing mentality in January, right? What are we going to do? We're going to focus on prospecting, and we are going to focus on doing as many open houses as we can. Because what are we intending to do? We're trying to fill our pipeline for an amazing spring. Well, I want you to take those same actions and have that same mindset here in September and think about doing the same thing for an awesome fall market, because I think we are going to see a really great market this fall. We have to remember that in spring and in summer, it was really busy or it was really challenging. A lot of buyers decided to kind of put a halt on their home buying process because it was extremely competitive. I think what we are going to see this fall, and we're already seeing it, are new homes coming on the market. And there are going to be buyers, because of where they are in life, maybe getting kids into school, they're going to have to wait until next spring to pick up their home buying. But there are going to be a group of buyers who are going to be able to benefit from this fall market. So I want you to be taking a look at, who can I be getting in front of, and start thinking about filling your pipeline just as you would in a January market. Because I can guarantee you, if you put some energy towards it, there are buyers out there and there are sellers who are ready to sell. They just need you to get in front of them. The second thing that I want you to think about is open houses. I think it's, again, going to be busy this fall. And there are so many buyers that are coming through that are not fully represented. They haven't decided on an agent, but they are going out there and they are taking their first look either at Zillow or somewhere online, but then they're getting into their cars and they're actually going to open houses. So think about it. There's a great opportunity right now in this fall market to get engaged with potential buyers who are getting back into the market after a very tough spring and summer. And then the third thing I want you to think about is I love this time of year. And so, it's a great time to be able to engage with the people in your sphere of influence. Let's think about it. Everybody's going back to school. We've got football, whether it is college or professional. Come on, Bears, you can do it. But whatever it is, this is a great time of year where a lot of activities are going on, and it's a natural way to engage with your sphere of influence. So be intentional about your outreach. And the last thing I'm going to give you as a suggestion is a great fall pop by. I absolutely love those mums that you can get at the grocery store. You can get small ones that are really cute for $5 to $10. Put them in a cute little, wrap them with a cute little bow and drop them off at your client's home. It's just such a great fall feeling to get a cute little set of mums. It's super easy, really cost effective. The other pop by idea that I absolutely love, or you can mail, is a Starbucks gift card. And especially for this time of year, because guess what's back? That's right, the pumpkin spice latte. Who doesn't love themselves a PSL? So let's think about some of the things we can be doing right now in the fall market to gain opportunity. The end of the year is not here quite yet. Let's create some fourth quarter momentum.
Yes, I love that, Amy. I can imagine sitting on your front porch, having a pumpkin spice latte surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of mums. Invite me once you have them there. I'll bring the lattes.
Anytime you can come. I'm ready for you.
Awesome. So let's talk about planning for the plan. This is a big one. We already said, you can't just go into business planning unless you understand where you're coming from. You can't roadmap the next year unless you have the map that you followed this year. And a lot of times, even us, those of us that are high producing agents that are very, very successful, high level of income, we don't always know how much we've spent. We don't even sometimes know how much we've made. And so what we need to do is gather that information. So there's a few things we want to make sure that we have together. The first is this year, how much have we made, right? So what was our income? What was our GCI? And then how much did we spend? Now, we may not have kept great records this year, but let's get an idea together on how much we've spent on client generation, client outreach, whether it's for closing gifts, whether it's on pop-bys, like Amy was talking about, client appreciation parties, cap gifts, any of this. Let's start to gather that information on how much we spent. Then we're going to take a look at what we need to look at for next year. So we know how much we've spent. We know how much we made. Let's also highlight this year where most of our business came from. Because if there is a single source or a couple of sources where a majority of our business came from, let's amp that up. Let's do more marketing in that area. Amy was talking about open houses being a big opportunity. Here's the thing. Even if you don't find someone who buys in the next 60 to 90 days, you have the opportunity to foster a relationship so that in 2022, you're able to capture them as clients through starting a relationship now. And if you find that you're really good and effective at converting during open houses, meaning converting, you just form a relationship. People feel connected to you. You can show your expertise without being salesy. Then let's do more open houses. If you're great at that and you know it, let's do more of that. Let's look at how many of our referrals we came from past clients, how many referrals came from referrals of past clients. Take a look at whether we're getting leads from Zillow or the App Properties site, if you're with App Properties, or your own brokerage site, or any other source of leads. Whatever it is, if you're getting a majority of leads from a specific area because you're good at converting into business, let's ramp that up. That's really important. So now getting understanding of how we are as an agent, getting understanding of how much we're spending, giving an understanding of where we are coming from in 2021 will allow us to create that roadmap for 2022. Otherwise, we're flying blind. And going back to the money part, that is what this entire first section is all about, the money. This is a business. You're not in here necessarily for charity, even though we donate to it. You're not in here to just work for free because you're bored. This is a business. You'd like to be able to take care of yourself and those around you. And that can only begin with an understanding of what we are making and what we are spending to ensure that we are all profitable.
Really good point, Kevin. I think the money piece is so critical, especially for so many of you who've had a really record year. I know for a lot of agents, the market had such great trajectory. It allowed you to really create a lot of momentum and see a lot of success. So for many of you, you may have done more and made more than you have in years past. So it's a great opportunity to figure out, where did that all come from? Where did my business come from? And then where do I need to double down and make sure that, yes, next year I can be investing. And this ties in to this next topic, or this next area that we want to focus on. And that's the idea of scale. As you are planning for your plan, I want you to start thinking about what scale looks like for you and your business. Because many of you, and in talking with a lot of you, were running with your heads off ragged. It was a crazy market, right? And so my question to you is, can you maintain that pace? Can you have the same kind of year that you had this year again next year? Do you want to replicate it, or do you want to do something different? And what I mean by that is, maybe you take a look at, holy cow, this was tough for me to do all on my own. So maybe I need to figure out how to create some process or infrastructure that is going to allow me to do the same, but quite honestly, hopefully do more next year, right? So let's think about scale. So the best way that you can do that is to take a step back and say, what are some of the things that I didn't have the time to do because I got so busy? And then you have to figure out, now that I am doing, or I'm at a certain point in my business, should I be looking at getting resources, meaning another agent in the office that can support all of the showings that I have to do for my listings? Or perhaps I don't have the opportunity to always be able to handle all the buyer flow that I get from my listings. Can I secure one or two colleagues that I can refer this business onto, or that I can partner with? So, this is a great time now to take a look and be a little bit reflective of what this year looked like, and figure out what are some of the things I'm going to put into place so that next year I can do this better. And quite honestly, hopefully I can do more effectively. And when it comes to scaling, what I also want you to think about is scaling with the end in mind. Meaning, let's say you did 10 million this year, and it was a great, phenomenal year. But next year, when you write out your business plan, you may want to shoot for 15 million. Okay, if that's going to be your plan, then when you're looking to scale or add on support or infrastructure, you need to add it on right now with the intention of where you're going to go. So right now, you need to hire up or have everything ready to go to run a $15 million business. You don't wait until you're in the middle of it and realizing that I need to add support. So right now, when you're thinking about scale, think about where you're going to want to be at the end of 2022, and start thinking about what are some of the things that I'm going to have to look at for scaling. And I think more importantly, it's really looking at my back office. Do I need a part-time admin, a full-time admin? Do I have a resource that I can hire, like a transaction coordinator by the hour? Or for at properties brokers, you've got at assist, looking at ways that you can be able to fill in that back office to scale further. And again, looking at colleagues to see if there's ways that as your business grows, you can pull them in to allow you to support all of the buyers and the sellers that you're going to be getting.
So let's talk about number 3, learning. This is an interesting one, especially for those of us that have been in the business for a long time, because oftentimes we feel like we know everything. Learning is forever, because if we stop learning, we stop growing. If we stop growing, we are dying, right? And the industry is always changing around us. Clients expect more. There's new technology. And the technology isn't just to be techie. The technology is to differentiate you, because if you don't use it, somebody else will. And you don't know which clients for which clients. That is going to be another piece of the puzzle in working with you. So in planning for the plan, what do you need to learn? Let's ease it in. This doesn't mean you need to learn everything you didn't learn in 2021 over the next 60 to 90 days. This means, okay, what are you really going to focus on? What areas of your business do you know you need to grow? If it's listing presentations, whether you feel comfortable with it or not, whether you feel like you could improve it or not, is that an area where you can maybe pick up a few nuggets by doing the perfect listing presentation? Then schedule it. Maybe you do that in January of 2022. You write in the learning and education and growth and development into your business plan. Otherwise, it won't happen. And here's the gem. If you're not growing during the busy season, that means during that time, you're growing. If you're not improving, if you're not consistently upping your A game, So let's include learning in our plan. So what does that mean now in planning for the plan? This means think through what you want to improve upon to be able to grow in 2022 and not stay stagnant. We provided a link to Amy and Kevin's favorite podcasts, and upcoming in the future, you'll see a list of Amy and Kevin's favorite books that we've read with the reason to read them. And we're sharing these because we understand that they could be a good resource for you. Not that we have the best taste in books or podcasts, but there's a lot of noise out there, right? We want to help you filter through. So when you do listen to something, when you do read a book, that it is something that can be impactful for you and your business. So take a look, click the link in the email that you received to check out our favorite podcasts. We will continue adding to that list. And here's what we ask of you, whether it's a book or a podcast, share that with us now. Put it in the comments down below, hit that like button, or send us an email at coffee@atproperties.com.
You can speak for yourself, Kevin, when you say they may not love your book or podcast suggestions, but mine are going to be amazing. So be ready.
I've seen your list, Amy. That's right. Your podcasts are pretty good. So with that, let's wrap. Let's fill up our coffee. We're going to need the energy for the rest of the day to make sure that we are doing everything we can to grow our business by looking for opportunities that we can close in the next 60 to 90 days and planning for the plan so that 2022 is another wildly profitable, successful year for every single one of us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, team. Make it a great Tuesday, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.